Congressman, thanks so much for joining us. A decade ago, parents heard the worst news of their lives at that fire station near Sandy Hook Elementary School in your home state of Connecticut. How devastating is it to know that a whole new group of parents in Texas have now heard that same horrible, horrible news?
Well, Wolf, as you point out, those of us who live in close proximity to Sandy Hook, we know in a very special and horrible way what it is like for a parent to be told that their young child won't be coming home that day, that young child, rather than coming home to a snack to play with their friends, has been brutally, brutally murdered by someone with a gun. And we still have not, in this part of Connecticut, recovered from that. And what makes it particularly horrible is that this stuff doesn't need to happen. There are ways to stop this, and other countries have done that, and we could do it and be consistent with our Second Amendment rights. But time and time and time again, we choose not to, for a whole bunch of reasons. But we choose this world. And as your correspondent pointed out, the funerals have only just begun for Buffalo, another brutal massacre perpetrated by somebody with a gun. We choose this, and it's awful enough to go through emotionally and psychologically what the parents are going through in Texas, but to know that it's going to happen again, maybe tomorrow, maybe next week, makes this just almost hellish in its horror. It's
so horrible. I want you to watch and listen, Congressman, to some Republican senators, how they're reacting to urgent calls for action right now in the Congress, in the Senate, and the House. Listen to this.
We have in our Constitution our Second Amendment rights, and I'm not interested in taking away rights for law-abiding citizens.
Inevitably, when there's a murder of this kind, you see politicians try to politicize it. You see Democrats and a lot of folks in the media whose immediate solution is to try to restrict the constitutional rights of law-abiding citizens. That doesn't work. It's not effective. It doesn't prevent crime.
Any firearm is potentially dangerous in the hands of a deranged lunatic. At the end of the day, the issue here is not the firearm.
So let me get your reaction. Are these Republican senators that we just heard from, among others, the ones who are actually who should bear some responsibility for allowing this to happen in our country over and over and over again?
Well, Wolf, we've been hearing this since Sandy Hook. I thought after Sandy Hook with the murder of 20 children that maybe people would sing a different tune. It's nonsense. It's utter nonsense. And you know what, Senator Cruz? Yes, we're politicizing this. Politics are how we get things done in this country. Politics is how we address Jim Crow. Politics is how we cover people with health insurance. Politics is how we keep people from driving drunk. So yes, politics will be, hopefully someday, the mechanism by which we stop the carnage that is unique to this country. And the Second Amendment arguments, which you just heard, are complete nonsense. We have lots of rights guaranteed in the Bill of Rights. None of them are absolute. We shouldn't even be having this conversation. We have a First Amendment right to freedom of expression, but you do not have a right to say certain things. The classic example being, of course, that you can't cry fire in a crowded theater. So those arguments, I can't tell you how angry they make me, because they are so stupid in the context of what in this democracy, we believe that we have a democracy, but something like 90% of Americans believe that there should be universal background check. But Ted Cruz and his Republican friends say no, because I guess they know better. Many, many people believe we could do much better by things like safe storage, like requiring what we've done here in the state of Connecticut, requiring that police have the right in a very temporary way to take away the weapons, the guns of somebody who is seen to be a danger. We call it a risk warrant here in Connecticut. So we know we could fix that problem, but instead you hear this constitutional nonsense. You hear these arguments because at the end of the day, Senator Cruz and his fellow Republicans are scared. They're scared to do the right thing. They're scared because they think that the NRA or some other conservative group will call them not pure enough. So their fear perpetuates a system, a cult that requires the weekly sacrifice of our children. And how you fix that, I don't know, because this is not a legislative issue. It's not really a democratic issue, because most Americans support some basic common sense, Second Amendment consistent measures. But Ted Cruz and his friends consistently say no for the stupidest of reasons. It's just beyond maddening.
Congressman Jim Himes of Connecticut, thank you.